Hello, everybody. We are back in the studio. We're doing our Faith to Stand podcast, Faith to Stand. We are recording. We're fancy with a sign. Mm-hmm. This is the home of Sunday Music Group and Five Stones Productions. I'm Michael.
And I'm Teresa.
And we had the privilege of being part of a worship workshop at our church for the band and the worship team and the leaders and everything. And we were asked to speak on
Worship is Warfare.
And we kind of tag teamed it. And that's what we spoke on. Worship is warfare from kind of different sides. She was, very eloquent and I was more badly. And, but I wanted to ask a question along with that. And what does sacrifice have to do with the sacrifice of praise have to do with spiritual warfare?
Well, I think defining what we're specifically talking about today, that is spiritual warfare. And because there's a lot of teachings on that and sermons about that, but we're talking about it specifically in the confines of being on a worship team or being part of a worship team, being a worship leader, and everything that comes along with that. Okay. Because we know that some of you may remember in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of talk about warfare. There was a lot of yelling at the devil.
Right. I remember that.
And
a lot of horse people.
Yeah. But it was like, I always felt like, I was really young at the time, but I always felt like it was a lot of focus on the devil.
Right.
And I think I discovered and learned along the way that was really not spiritual warfare. but you should have your focus on God, right? And just being a part of a worship team and being scheduled even, sometimes it's a sacrifice to just show up. And I think that's a big part of spiritual warfare. Sometimes you show up no matter what. Now, sometimes we know if you've been throwing up all night and you can't get out of bed, right. We're not saying that, but there's times I think that we feel like, oh, well, I need to take a break from the team, or I need to do this, and different things that are happening. And sometimes that's valid, but it depends on what's going on with you and what God is wanting you to do. And when we were speaking at our worship workshop, that I was talking about in 2 Chronicles, where it was talking about King Jehoshaphat. You guys can look up that story later, but basically they were coming, the Edomites and a lot of the ites were coming against the Israelites. And so they were scared because they were outnumbered, right? And so the priest came and prophesied and gave a word of encouragement that God was going to fight for them. So what they did was they sent out the band and the singers.
That's true.
Because in the temple, the band and they had people that sang and played all day long and all night long, 24/7 before the Lord. Now, we don't have that nowadays, but that's what they did. And that was their job. Yeah. And they went first. And when that happened, the enemy killed each other, and they came down, they found, and they all this plunder, like everybody was dead, and they didn't even have to, because God said he was going to fight for them. And that's such a crazy example of what we're talking about, because a lot of times, as we know that bad things happen to good people, right? We know that no matter where you're Christian, not Christian, maybe you're a nice person, bad things happen. But when you are a Christian, we know that you have a target on you, right? But when you are in ministry, you have a target on you. And when you are on a worship team, you have a target on you. Why? Because you go first. You go first into the battle, the spiritual warfare, on a Sunday morning, on a Wednesday night, at a special event. You are the one leading the way. And we've talked about that a little bit before on the podcast, but we were talking about how you like to talk, you saying about the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force, and the plowing of the ground before the word. But a lot of times the sacrifice I found is just showing up no matter what. And
Yeah.
we've talked before about on our podcast about when our daughter was in the hospital, and I knew that the way I had no control over what was going on with her, with the brain surgeries and the stroke and all this craziness. But what I had control over was showing up to lead worship on Sunday
Right.
morning. That was my battle. That was my fight. And it was like,
That was your sacrifice.
that was my sacrifice,
Yes.
because I knew that the devil was trying to not only take out my daughter and her husband at the time and take me out and sideline us, sidetrack us. And I just like, I don't have control over making her better other than prayer. But what I do have control over is I'm showing up and I'm going to do my fighting the way that I know how to fight. And I think that that is such an important part of the whole process.
So you are telling me that this whole complicated thought of spiritual warfare and principalities and powers and that we fight against and pray against, it pretty much boils down to showing up.
Yeah.
And that makes complete sense, because if you're up there and if you're on the stage and you are a member of the band or you're a member of the singers and you don't show up, there is a spot where there's a gap in the wall and you're not there. So it doesn't matter how much you know about spiritual warfare. It doesn't matter how much you can yell at the devil while you're doing spiritual warfare. It doesn't matter how much you believe or how much faith you are, because if you are not standing in your spot, and holding your sword and taking your position and fighting, that's all poof.
Yeah. And I think when you were mentioning standing in the gap, it made me think of that movie, The 300, the Spartans.
Oh, where they all put the shields
They're
together.
all on their front line, and they are all like in this, I don't know, almost a patchwork of shields protecting their people, like, or whether you're Vikings or the Scottish or whatever, they fought like that with their shields interlocking. And so if you're missing,
I don't feel like it, guys.
You're supposed to be there and you're missing, and you're where your shield is, there is nothing. And there may be someone that comes that day that maybe they would have connected with you, even if you weren't leading a song. Like, he plays bass, and you think, a lot of times you might think, well, the bass player, he's kind of in the back. Nobody notices the bass player.
Just the bass player.
Yeah. No, but with an anointed bass player, a good bass player, people notice the bass player. Why? Because it's you have your thing that you say about playing the bass.
Well, the bass is a very unique instrument. I guess I'll jump into that quickly. Your body has zero resistance against low notes. So let's say you have a big woofer in your car going boom, 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 boom. We hear them all go by. You actually have no defenses. You can actually go deaf without even knowing about it. But if you hear a scream or a screech or chalkboard and nails or a high guitar, you shut down. But what happens with the bass, there's no defenses against it. So if I'm up there and I'm having a bad day and I have a bad attitude and I'm playing with a bad attitude, that goes right through me into my instrument and out into the people. So when I am standing in the gap, I need to make sure that I don't not only show up, but I show up with the right attitude, because what I'm doing goes straight out into people and they don't even know it. It's just, there's no defenses against it. It's a spiritual avenue that I have to protect. That is my spot. That is where I fight. And that is my responsibility. Not just showing up, but making sure it's a clean and pure avenue.
Yes. And I think that, because it just makes me think of, we have another bass player on the team we have a couple more, but he just, like, the week before this workshop, one of his sons,
His youngest,
died in a car accident. And, it was such a crazy tragedy. And yet he was scheduled to play that next Sunday morning. He showed up and played. Like, we didn't even know about
Right.
it yet. He was there playing. And then we found out about it this week and weren't sure if he was coming to the worship workshop. And he showed up. And we don't know him very well. We're getting to know
Right.
him more. But like, that was so impressive to me as someone who has fought those kind of battles.
The respect level. Just,
It's like, whoa, okay, now this guy is a force to be
Yeah.
reckoned with in the spirit.
Yeah.
Because he shows up. And, because when you're offering, let me just say, when you or your church or someone is putting together an event to help you in your training, when God has given you a gift, whatever level, we're all at different levels, and maybe in talent level, but when the person over the worship is trying to put together a training session to help you come up in your gifts and to encourage you, and knowing that you're going to talk about worship as warfare, and then people don't feel like they should show up for that.
Mhm.
It must not be that important, or maybe I don't need that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it didn't feel that way to you. Maybe that was not what happened, but everybody else that came, and maybe you're a leader and you don't come. Everybody else that came are thinking, wow, okay, maybe they don't think that that's
This is
important. That's
important.
why it's important to show up.
Yep.
And because
Yeah.
it's an encouragement to other people,
Absolutely.
even on your own team.
I mean, how many of us would like to we consider ourselves above average. We want to be above average in something. Okay. The simplest way there is to be above average. If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, show up.
Yeah.
Just show up. You're all of a sudden way up here because you're not making excuses and you're not down here and swimming in the mud. You're up here. You showed up, and you want to be above average and you want to get noticed. And you talk about respect, just show up consistently. It's just, and you get respect from people who show up then, and it's a mutual thing.
Yeah. I mean, and then we have a very good friend and his wife, like he's shown up for years
Yep.
and years and years. I've known him since he was 20. And just this week going through, like, with his wife, knowing that there was a brain issue that she's had for a while, but she was trying to get it taken care of. And then things kind of went off the rails a
Escalated,
little
yeah.
bit. Yeah. And so praise God, she's recovering and doing better now. But like, it was touch and go there for a while. You didn't know
Yeah.
what was going to happen. Brain bleeds, and I mean, that's scary stuff. We know that. We know that from experience, right? And showing up for someone like that, right? And because and just, hey, a text or whatever, I'm praying for you, or
Yeah.
showing up and being a part of people's lives, because just that's why. Just kind of segueing into our nonprofit, our withthesehands.org, is, in fact, you wrote our mission statement about standing in the gap for people who either they or their families have experienced catastrophic illness or injury. And so.
Yeah. Speaking of writing something, you have a story that you didn't want to show up. It was a very, very, rough time in your rough patch, big one. It wasn't a speed bump. It was like
a giant sinkhole.
Yeah. And you were driving. We used to help go to friends' church, and we played and helped them out for a while. And we had to drive from here, where we are now, over to Orange County, and it's on a little highway called the Ortega, and it's basically a paved donkey trail
It's
through the
very
mountain.
curvy.
Yeah. And so
from the Inland Empire
to the
to
coastline.
the coast. Yeah.
So explain what happened for just showing up.
Yeah. So honestly, a lot of it, I was scheduled on a Sunday morning to help lead worship, and something bad had gone down on the Saturday, and I got zero sleep all night long, but it's like, I got to go, right? I need to go, and so I had been crying all night long. It was not good. And the kids were asleep in the back of our car because they had to sleep on the Ortega or they would get sick, right? So on the way to church, they just laid down, went back to sleep. And I was just, really upset and just trying to, make it through the mountain. But that little kid song, If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. That came in my head, and all of a sudden I had a different melody. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then your face is gonna show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And I was actually like just pounding on the steering wheel instead of clapping because I'm driving, right? So if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Boom, 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 boom. And then I got like the whole song and ended up recording that song because I wasn't feeling happy, like, trust me, but I was trying to choose joy. I was trying to do warfare. I didn't even really know it at the time that was even warfare, right? I just knew I had to get out of this funk, right? And so I ended up writing the whole song, recorded that song. Our daughter Noelle, on her first album, recorded it bilingual in
Which is
Spanish.
a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It's a really fun
Si
song.
soy feliz, vamos todos a aplaudir.
There you go. Look at that.
And
Woo-hoo.
people sing that song now all over the
All over the
world.
world.
And they think, maybe they think, oh, that's a cute little song. It was a remix of the little kid song. They don't know that it came out of actual trauma. And so that's part of showing up. Maybe if I'd stayed in bed that day and just called and said, hey, I'm not coming, I might have never gotten that because I chose to have joy. And joy is a choice. Joy is not an emotion. Joy is a choice because it comes from the inside. It comes from the Holy Spirit. And so that was just a very powerful example of what choosing joy can do and showing up can do.
And you were using your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So we would say it was with these hands. Okay. And you had faith to stand. And that, with that little segue, you were now thankful. And so 2 weeks from now, what are we doing?
So a little over 2 weeks on Saturday, August 22nd at 10 a.m. at the Rock Church Temecula Valley. We are having our second annual Thanksgiving in August concert. We did it the first time last year in honor of our daughter's 40th birthday. It was so great, and people had such a great time, and the Holy Spirit was there. And everybody was saying, let's do it again. And so this time we're making a longer time. So we're going from 10 to 12. And then we're going to be selling Rustico Pizza, like the best Italian restaurant probably ever.
Yeah.
And we're going to be fundraising. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year. And then we're coming back for a second half with some great speakers. So it's kind of a combination concert, a little bit of a conference, really good speakers.
And we have a special choir also, not just our community choir, but we have a special choir. Explain that a little bit.
We have our choir, and then we have Train Up Ministry. It's a group of young people, young adults, a couple teenagers in there that are part of this worship youth ministry, and we're doing a recording a project for them in our studio. When we started recording the vocals, I'm like, these kids, they're young adults, but they were so powerful, so anointed. And I was like, oh, they have to come. So very excited to have them in the second half, sing a couple songs. They're all African. Some of them are African, maybe the parents were born in Africa, but they were born here, but it's a great group of people, a great leader.
And how do they find out about this?
Yes. So I mentioned With These Hands earlier, withthesehands.org. Withthesehands.org. It's on our homepage. And this, like I said, it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. So if you're not in the Southern California area, we're kind of in the middle of Southern California. So if you're San Diego, LA, Orange County, we're like an hour from you, hour and a half. And so if you're not in this area, then please donate.
There's a little button
on the homepage. You can donate.
And what happens when, should they donate?
Well, because like we were saying earlier about a couple friends of ours, we help people or their families that have experienced catastrophic illness and injury because we know about that firsthand, and we're very passionate about that and helping people. And so it's been just a labor of love, honestly.
Yes.
To do this, and just the support people have shown us over the years, and we want to give back.
Yeah, the support is awesome. Sometimes I just pause and go, wow. Because there are some people who support over and over and over again, and they never miss it. They never miss a beat. And thank you, my brother, Kevin, he never misses it. Thank you.
But we don't want to start naming names.
No,
so,
but anyways, I can because he's my brother.
Family, but yeah.
So yeah. And there's a special moment at the end. And I would encourage you, if you can get there at these conferences. We've done these conferences. We've also done some smaller conferences before that. But at the end, each time that we're combining choirs this time, which is going to be really cool, we do the blessing, the song, and we bless the people. And it is one of the most amazing, powerful experiences of pure love, of pure just sharing. And I've seen people just weep and just stand there and weep and smile at the same time. There's such an awesome power of blessing people, and God just smiling on that and giving it a huge kiss. And I would like you to be in the middle of that huge God kiss if you can be, because it's an awesome experience.
Yes. Yeah. So we just want to encourage you, no matter what you're going through, show up.
Show up. That's all we ask. Just show up. And if you can't show up, write show up on your finger and hit the donate button. There we go. Because we will know you show up. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we enjoyed this one. Faith to Stand podcast. We are done recording. Watch this.
He's very fancy.
High tech. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and